Alright, so there are three things that every man needs. Three. And of course, disclaimer, there is more. However, I'm gonna start with three, just for this conversation. Another disclaimer, this is for everybody. So if you are a male, old man, young man, a mother, an aunt, and a cousin, whoever you are, this is important because not only is it relevant to the males, but it's also relevant to the women around them so that they can encourage them accordingly. And also, as a mother or an aunt, or even an older niece, or rather an older cousin, to create an environment where men can thrive once they get these things. So, having said all of that, it's just three. It's not an exhausted list. Number one, men need responsibility. Now, you may say, what on earth does that mean? It means that they need to know how to cook, wash, and clean. Mothers especially are guilty of this, where you have your one boy and you do everything for him. You don't wash him, don't cook him, don't clean him, kick off him shoes at the door, and you do everything for him. That doesn't help. Men need responsibility. I have taught over about 1,800 young men in the last 9 years. One thing I can guarantee, men need responsibility. Anytime you find a young man who is listless, who has no drive, him not doing nothing in yard. Him don't have any responsibilities, him don't lift one pin, breeze don't even blow upon him properly. You want to make sure that you give young men responsibility. You give them chores, let them wash the dishes, or some people call it wash the wares, tomato. Let them clean up the dog mess, let them take out the garbage. Give them things to do. And from there, I want to run into another one. Before I run into that one, I want you to appreciate this. If you create a young man that doesn't have responsibility, what you're in essence doing is you are not allowing him to become a man that stands on his own. And if he doesn't stand on his own, how can he help his wife? So you're basically creating a big baby for somebody else to go and become the mother of afterwards. And you know, if you're a mother and or a woman and any adult woman will tell you that they don't want to have to mother their man. But if it is that you're creating a young man who you're not placing him in an environment where he can become a male, an adult male, a manly man, then what happens is you create a baby for another woman to baby. Don't want that. From there, we're going into another even deeper thing, which is competence. You need to ensure that the men around you have competence. Competence breeds confidence. So as a mother, as a father, study your son. Understand what his skills are and strengthen them. Help him to be a good public speaker. Make sure that he's a good footballer. Ensure that his view of himself is such that he is proud of his abilities and his skills and what he can do. Because what you don't want is for his identity, and that's the next one I'm running to after. You don't want to make it that his identity is tied to his possessions. And let me give you an analogy. One of the issues that we have with murder-suicides across the Caribbean is that some of these men are of the opinion that their worth is related to their possessions. And if it is that they believe that their worth is related to their possessions, as opposed to appreciating the fact that they are created by the Creator and therefore inherently they have worth, they now have a lower sense of their worth related to the shoes, the car, whatever else they have. And what happens is when they start a relationship, they take on this relationship, they take on this woman, and she now becomes another possession, because if he views his worth as simply related to his possessions, then he cannot view her as anything more than simply a possession. That's her worth to him. So it make him feel good because no, not only him have the Jordans and the Tims or whatever else, but him have a hot girl upon him hand. When she tries to leave, his possessions are in threat. His worth is in threat. So now he's gonna be worth less because him girl leave him. Can't have that. So what he does is he tries to hold on to her, and of course he can't hold on to a woman. And because he can't hold on to her, you try and you try and you try and you try, and then you realize, hey, the ultimate act of power is now me taking her life. And then of course he tries to take his own life as well. So what you want to do is make sure that your son, the males around you, develop competence in different fields so that their confidence is such they are able to handle losses when they come, because they realize that their worth is not related to their possessions. On that note of identity, boys, young men, men in general, but of course your identity begins when you're a child, right? Need identity. They need an identity, and this is where the father's very important. A young man views his identity of what a male is, what a man is, primarily by looking at his father. Some mothers, just sliding in a little bit, stop telling son you walk just like your daddy. Not cool. It doesn't help with his own idea of self-image and worth. Fathers, spend time with your children. Somebody else is gonna spend time with them, you know. It can be the stupid little friends that don't know any better than they do. I mean, they're trying it, but they're still stupid. It might be the predator out there who wants your child in a way that you have never even dreamed possible, and therefore you will be traumatized, but not as traumatized as your child. Or it might be the gang member who himself may also be a predator. The long and short of it is you want to make sure your child has an identity, so he appreciates his worth, so that he doesn't get it from somewhere else, and that somewhere else might be in a way that no one should have an identity tied to or tied. You follow me? The thing that is important with this is there are some of us that don't come from a nuclear family. In fact, in Trinidad and Tobago, last that I heard, which I am sure is low, is that 30% of households are single parent households. Ladies, if you're a single parent mother, find a healthy, safe alternative. So your brother that has his head on straight, your father, an uncle, make sure, however, that it is I keep saying this, and I hope you appreciate the amount of time I keep singing this same song. Make sure it is a safe alternative. Find a healthy alternative for this young man to reason with, to be around, because young men need an identity, and they need strong, healthy, responsible male role models to mirror after. A mother cannot teach a boy to be a man, just as though I can never teach a young girl to be a woman. I don't know what it is like. Facts. Of course, this is just 3. There are more, and let me know if you want the rest. And as always, stay safe.